Welcome back to another episode of Madden 17 Franchise. Today we are going to be doing our bye week here in Week 8. The Giants are 4-3, which is pretty much on track to go 8-8 or maybe 10-7, 10-6 rather, something like that. I around that area. That's probably the best we can get. But you know, this could be a playoff squad. It could, maybe it's not. I don't know yet. We really don't know. There's been a couple games that we lost. We lost against Week 1, very first week. We lose against the Cowboys, then we go on a 2-game winning streak. Lose 2 more games right in a row to the Packers and Baltimore, and then we come back and beat Los Angeles. Very close. All of our losses so far were within 3 points, and that is saying something. So those are those types of games where you really got to win right here. You guys can just take a look at the stats. I'm not really going to say anything. We're going to be talking about the team. You can, of course, just look at the yards and stuff. Look at Odell Beckham Jr., though. 35 catches, over 1,000 yards. He is having one of the greatest seasons of all time by any wide receiver ever right there, John Jerry. Just bad. But I'm going to get to that in a second. So I'm just going to go by position group and just evaluate pretty much this Giants team and what I want to see, like, what we can improve on. So our quarterback play, Eli Manning has been absolutely phenomenal. The connection between him and Odell Beckham Jr., along with the 2 veterans, Hakeem Nicks, Mario Manningham, and Victor Cruz, have just been absolutely amazing. He's been finding people all over the place. So our quarterback play is pretty much fine. Now into halfback, Rashad Jennings has had his career year so far. He is just having such an awesome year. He is getting 100 yards game pretty much every single game, and that is so impressive. He was leading the league in rushing for a while. I think he dropped down to 3rd place currently. And then, his backup, though, Shane Vereen, our 3rd down back, our receiving back, our shotgun back, whatever you want to call him, he's been a little bit iffy. We're trying to work him into our scheme, get him out of the backfield and just cause a mismatch down the field against the linebacker. But he's also done a pretty good job running the ball at times. Other times he's just been absolutely stuffed. He's been very inconsistent. He lost us the Baltimore game when he fumbled it, but I mean, it was just one mistake. So Vereen has been very inconsistent. I'm just going to say he's been inconsistent. Now into the wide receiving group, of course, like I mentioned before, Odell Beckham Jr. is having a Hall of Fame season right now. Take a look at the standings, by the way, on screen. Hakeem Nicks has done an excellent job filling in, and so has Mario Manningham for the most part. Just filling up those 2 spots and just getting, veteran receivers there, and they've just been playing so well. They haven't had many drops at all, so they've been playing fine. Victor Cruz, the Giants really haven't been incorporating them into their offense. I do not know why. I feel like we could use them more, but for some reason we're just not. We're not doing it. I don't know. It's always Hakeem Nicks before him for some reason, and Manning just really hasn't found that rhythm with Cruz yet. Sterling Shepard, I didn't really want to rush his development. That's why I got Nicks and Manningham in the first place, because he has his whole career to do good. So, why rush him? He can do it next year. He'll be fine next year. I'm planning to get rid of Nicks and Manningham to let Sterling Shepard grow, and I'm thinking about picking up someone in free agency. I'm not sure who yet, but someone who can also play number 2. Because if you didn't know, like a number 2 wide receiver, because if you didn't know, Sterling Shepard and Victor Cruz, they're both slot receivers, and Beckham is obviously the number 1, so we're going to need a number 2 somewhere. I'm looking for a tall guy, probably a big red zone threat, because I don't know if I'm going to keep my tight ends. And speaking of tight ends, we have Larry Donnell, who has played absolutely phenomenal for us. It's just he's not getting the ball enough. Manning is just simply not throwing the ball to him. Will Tye has also played pretty good. He hasn't really made any mistakes yet. He's gotten a lot of first downs, and he's sort of been a mismatch in the middle of the field, because the 2nd-string linebacker's got to go against the 2nd-string tight end, and he consistently wins his battle, so that's fine right there. Next up, we have Eric Flowers. He is improving. He's our left tackle. He's improving greatly. He's already an 80 overall. He was a draft pick last year. 2 years ago, I should say. Not this last draft, but the draft before that. He's improved up to an 80 overall, and that's one of the 3 players that I've been spotlighting when I do my training weekly. So he's done a pretty good job. Justin Pugh, we signed him to a big contract. He has been doing fine, and so is Weston Richburg. Though Pugh has let up 2 sacks, Weston Richburg has let up 0. So right there, that is the future. Those 3 guys I just mentioned are the future. Now what we got to work on in the draft and free agency this next upcoming offseason, obviously John Jerry has let up 11 sacks in 6 games, which is just terror, or 7 games rather. That's just absolutely terrible. He is struggling so bad. And same thing with Marshall Newhouse. He has let up 2 sacks, but I just feel like they're both getting up there in age, and I just want to replace them with younger players so then that we can sign our entire offensive line to long-term deals. They're all young, and then they can just be here for the rest of the franchise. Next up, our defense. There's really not much to say here. We have been playing absolutely amazing. Oh yeah, by the way, we had like the 5th ranked defense or offense in the league, and the 4th ranked defense at one point, and that is really, really good. So I'm just going to get right to it. Our defensive linemen, our ends are Olivier Vernon, Jason Pierre-Paul. Both those guys really haven't lived up to the hype. I'm going to be honest with you. They haven't really done. They're not like Von Miller or J.J. Watt. They're not controlling the game. Yes, they make some pretty good plays on 3rd down, nice tackling. Pierre-Paul's in there to stop the run sometimes, along with Olivier Vernon just cutting off the edge. But I'd like to see them get involved in the pass rush more. That's the one reason we got Olivier Vernon, is to help Jason Pierre-Paul get those sacks. And we're just not, I feel like we're not getting enough sacks with the talent that our defensive line has. Damon Harrison, again, he hasn't really lived up to the hype much either. Jonathan Hankins has played solid, but I mean, if everyone on our defensive line is playing solid, then I'll just say that's good. But I feel like we have a greater potential. I feel like we're playing good, but I feel like we could be playing great, and that's just not what we're doing right here on this defensive line. Next up for our linebackers, we are struggling here. Keenan Robinson struggles in coverage, along with the young one, Devon Kennard. He has been struggling a little bit as of late, too, as we put him in there on those 2 linebacking formations. We substituted J.T. Thomas out of those, and we put in Keenan Robinson and Kennard in there. And yeah, that's the other thing. J.T. Thomas has really not been performing that well, except for that last play of the Los Angeles game. He made a pretty good play, but other than that, he's just been... he's just not been good. Our linebackers are not really that good. Keenan Robinson, I like Keenan Robinson. He has 2 interceptions, but he's got to step it up. Along with Devin Kennedy, he's got to cause some sort of big plays. Our linebackers are not creating any big plays at all, and they're just getting run over by receivers, and it's just a mismatch all day long. Next up for our secondary, Dominic Ryder-Scamardi, Janoris Jenkins, Eli Apple, and Leon Hall have played probably one of the best in the league. We need a nickname for them. You know how the Cardinals have the no-fly zone, the Seahawks have the Legion of Boom. What do the Broncos have? What do the Broncos have? It's something cool. We need something like that. Tell me what to name them in the comment section below. Although our safeties, let's just move to our safeties. So our corners have been playing absolutely sound. It's been perfect play by our corners, especially Janoris Jenkins. He's really stepped up after the Giants gave him all that money. But now our safeties, we have Darian Thompson and Landon Collins. Both of these guys, I feel, could play better, but they are the future. We're slowly building them up. Darian Thompson is one of the guys that I put on the weekly progression, along with Devin Kennard and Eric Flowers. I already mentioned that. But, yeah, they've been playing fine. I feel like they could play better, especially Landon Collins in coverage. Right here, you can take a look at our schedule. So I went through the entire roster, by the way, if you haven't noticed that already. And we got pretty good kickers, pretty good punters. Brad Wing, though, got off to a slow start. But, yep, right here you can see the schedule. Thank you guys for watching. Comment, subscribe. Remember your veggies. Go to school. DanCarFilms out. Peace!